everybody. Thank you very much for being here today. It's an honor to see this many people here. We are honored to walk, and this is a very special day for us as a family to open up an historic building that has been in the city of Tavares for over 100 years. I can't thank my dad enough for what he has done to this place. He has changed what some people see as a rundown building. He has made it back to the beauty it deserves, back to its original history, back to a place of gathering and worship for a century to come from now on. I would like to invite my family up today: Jack, Cheryl, Sammy, Lee, and especially my dad and my mother. Come on up.
So first, I just want to say, yes, congratulations. You two have, of course, been in my life for a long time, and you have been very special people to me, your whole family. So this is a great honor to do this with you guys. So anyway, secondly, good afternoon, everyone. So on behalf of the Tavares Chamber of Commerce, it's an absolute honor to welcome you here today as we celebrate the official ribbon cutting for the legacy at Church Hill Center. Moments like this are what community is all about: vision, restoration, and people coming together to create something meaningful. This building isn't just a structure, it's a place where stories will begin. Vows will be exchanged, milestones will be celebrated, and memories will be made for years to come. The team behind the legacy saw potential, history, and a heart in this space, and they brought it back to life in a way that will serve not just couples and families, but our entire community. That takes courage, investment, and a whole lot of faith in Tavares, and for that, we thank you. As a chamber, we always say ribbon cuttings are more than ceremonial. They mark growth, they mark belief in our city, they remind us all that Tavares continues to be a place where dreams are built, sometimes literally one brick at a time. To the owners and team, congratulations on this beautiful new chapter. We are proud to stand beside you, support you, and celebrate this moment with you. Okay, one more thing. So I told Cheryl I would do her jingle.
That's probably not gonna happen.
I'm not a singer, you guys would run away. So, from the heart of an old church steeple comes a space made for moments and people. Church Hill Center and the legacy, where history meets new memories. Jean had a dream to restore it right. 5 kids stepped in to bring it to life. Weddings, parties, and businesses too, a timeless venue made just for you. Sunday school rooms become office space, the halls transformed for gatherings to take place. A place for love, a place for laughter, for unity, serving families and the community. Built with dust, sweat, and love every day, a true restoration the Smith family made. To honor the past and who all came before, while opening the doors for so much more. Restored with heart, shared with the community, from yesterday's chapel to tomorrow's memories. Congratulations. That was Stephanie's work hard. Wasn't it awesome?
You're ready. Give it a chop. Whoa. There we go. Ready?
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait. 2, 3, cut. Straight up and down, much better with a hammer.
First thing,
somebody asked, why would you buy an old building that every room in the building leaks, termites have eaten the whole thing up, and it's 100 years old? And the reasons of that are several. First thing, it's part of our legacy, part of our heritage. And it means a lot to a lot of these people. If you saw our book, you know what financial. So, in 1920, there was approximately 390 people who lived in Tavares. We call it the village now, out the city. There were 2 churches in town. One church, the Congregational Church. The only one in town in 1920, the Methodists met with them. 1923, Methodists decided, that's 103 years ago, the Methodists decided that they were going to build a church, and they built this building right here. And we restored it almost exactly as it was. So, 1948, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our family. This is not about our family. It's not about me. We just happen to be the ones that save this building. But it's about the heritage we have and about what this means to a lot of people. Matter of fact, yesterday we had a gal named Emily Chester. Her name was, that's her maiden name. She came down from near Jacksonville, the Simmons know her. And she knows a lot of people here at the Berries. And she said that she made a special trip to see the buildings. She was, told me she was in my Sunday school class. She also told me she got married here. So that meant a lot to her. So and a lot of people have told me that. So that's one of the reasons we did that. And then in 1948, I was in college at Statesboro, Georgia, and my roommate was Jack Perry. Jack Perry's my cousin. He lived in Tavares. We've had roots here from the early 20s. 100 years ago, this year, my parents lived on North New Hampshire Street. My dad helped put the tile roof on the school building, which was moved about 20 years ago. Then in 1948, when I was in college, Jack Sperry, as I said, was my roommate. And he wanted me to come down here during the summer for him and spend the summer. So I did. I'd never been out of Georgia in my life, and it was quite an experience for me. And when we were coming south, 301, and when we got north of Ocala a little ways, I could see the landscape changing. And it was citrus trees everywhere. We got down to Ocala, I was really amazed. I was raised in southeast Georgia, and that was a poverty center. And this was wonderful for me. When I got to Lake County and saw the lake, I couldn't believe it. And I said, that is like going to heaven. And I knew right then that I was going to, when they come back. So at the end of that summer, I got a job with my cousin Elmer Sperry, spent the whole summer here. And at the end of the summer, Jack Sperry and I signed up for the Navy. Sent us both to San Diego to boot camp. When my enlistment was up, I got out. Quick as I could. Jack stayed in me for a ride. I went back and finished college, moved back out here in 1953. 1954, my wife and I opened our first business, and it's still been with our children and grandchildren. So, in 54, when I moved back, we joined the church here, and my great aunt Blanche Sperry, my grandmother's sister, but my grandmother died 2 years earlier, and I think Aunt Blanche thought she just had to take her place. So she took me over, and she made sure that my body was in this church every Sunday. Sunday school and church. So I was in here 3 or 4 years, I guess, and then they asked me to be on the board of stewards. I served on the board of stewards and I taught Sunday school for 5 years. And that's one of the reasons that we have an attachment to the school. And at the end of that time, 5 years, the Methodist Church decided they wanted to build a new building out on 19, and they sold the church to the Church of Christ. As a matter of fact, Pastor Rick Newton is here, and his wife Sandy. And they took over the church in 1968. So the years went by, and the church didn't have much upkeep, and it was difficult, and no blame for them. It was difficult for a small congregation, and it'd be 20 people, 25 people. And this is a pretty large section to keep it up. So when we bought it, it was in bad repair. The roof leaked, termites had eaten infrastructure out downstairs. And there was originally 3 big buildings out there and one that was added on to the back here. And so we combined all that, we put new roofs on, they're all steel. And this is actually the roof on. They had somebody somewhere back in the day that put a drop ceiling in here and you couldn't see the balcony. So they cut that window off. And when the church sold this to the Church of Christ, they took the windows. If you see the big windows on both sides, the Church of Christ were left without windows except for a green plastic window on this brick. And that was the way we found it when we got here. But what happened is the Methodist Church called fire and burned those windows up. And to replace them, it was like $120,000. So my son Sammy, who is the editor of International Magazine, found a way that we could duplicate those windows. That the church in Groveland that has the exact same windows, built by the same engineer. And Sammy went down and took photographs of the windows. We found somebody that could laminate, that's not a lamination, it's actually an image put on acrylic. And it's the exact same window, and it looks exactly the same way as the deal in 1923. Wow. So when you get through, you can go peel it, it's about a quarter of an inch thick, just like a piece of glass. And on the outside we have tempered glass, protect all of these windows. And Jim Holman, who is one of my main guys, I say he's one of my main guys, he's a main guy, he's very professional. And Jim was with me 6 months ago to do the structural work. And there's a bronze plaque on the wall that's on the right-hand side of the steps as you come up. And we've listed all of the contractors that helped us with this project. It wasn't just our family. Of course, our family was involved every day. And my grandson Austin and Jeff Wayman, another employee, we did these floors. And about every 5th floor was beaten up with termite. They had to replace those, and they redone it. That was Austin and Jeff Wayman. So we've the roofs on the Sunday school rooms, we took them off, but we left it was a flat roof actually. And we built steel trusses on the top, it's all steel trusses, and steel, every roof in here is new. The electrical is all new. Everything electrical is LEDs. The air conditioners, as you can see, we don't have duct work. Pretty much hot, we can run them up a little bit. But anyway, I feel like it was important for us to save this building for our heritage. It means a lot to a lot of people. And it means a lot to us. So I'm going to turn this thing over to Stanley. And Stanley's going to give you a little bit. Come on, Stanley.
if you noticed on your way in that there was a chicken at the corner of Alfred Street and Joanna Avenue. And as I was about to cross the road, she ran over to me and said, "Stop, don't do it. You'll never hear the end of it." But I did cross the road, and I'm glad I'm here. Big days here. And our whole family has been looking forward to this for quite some time. And to tell the truth, there was a little anxiety in my mind. I didn't want to be paranoid, but I was thinking, what could go wrong? In fact, I went down to the library and I asked, "Do you have any books on paranoia?" And the librarian said, "They're right behind you." And there's no need to be paranoid because we're here, everything is beautiful. We're so thankful to my dad and all of his staff for everything they did to make this happen. I'd like to tell you how this building came into being, and I don't want to bore you with details, and yet I am going to. The city of Tiberias was founded in 1880 by Major Alexander St. Clair Abrams. Bobby Grenier can tell you all about him. Quite a bit about Alexander St. Clair Abrams, so we can correct. But he founded this town in 1880. In 1885, there was a small group of Methodists that wanted to start a church. But they didn't have any place to meet. They met finally at a venue called St. Clair Abrams Hall. And it's a principle. If you found a town, you can name a meeting place after yourself. So that's what happened. And they met there for 3 years until 1888, when the great and terrible fire broke out and destroyed the business district in the city of Tiberias, including St. Clair Abrams Hall. Well, while they were waiting for a place to meet, they went to the school for a while, which St. Clair Abrams also held. He was an industrious fellow, not quite as industrious as my dad, but he was working on it. He was trying his best. But the church, Congregational Church, Union Congregational Church, reached out to the Methodists and said, "Would you like to meet at our place? You can still see the beautiful building right down the road." They said, "You meet here one week and we'll meet here the next week." And that went on for years that way. And it was a very good arrangement. But over time, the Methodists grew. They talked about building their own building, but materials were hard to get, money was short. But by 1921, they had 160 members, and they just wouldn't fit in the Union Congregational Church. So they had a meeting, and a guy by the name of W.G. Long made a good proposition. He said, "I just bought some property on Joanna Avenue, right where we are today. $500, I bought 2 lots. And I'll make a further proposition. I'll donate an additional $500 cash to start a building program." And they did. And by early, that's W.G. Long calling to ask for his money back all these years. But in the early 1923, they were ready to build. They hired an architect from Umatilla who was 29 years old, Ira Rice. He'd already built a church. He built the Methodist church in Umatilla. And a completely different style from this building. But he was successful, and so the Methodists hired him to design this church in a neoclassical style he chose. Quite different, quite stunning. They hired a contractor, his former employer, Mr. Osborne, Charles Zebulon Osborne, who was a contractor in Umatilla and also conveniently owned the lumberyard. And when we were restoring this building and carrying these walls out, my son Austin found a board, the only board in the building that had not been eaten by termites, by the way. There was one, and on the board in pencil it said Osborne, Tiberias. And that undoubtedly was on top of a stack of lumber headed into this building from Osborne's lumberyard. So they completed it in 6 months for the sum of $10,117. And the Methodists met here for the first time October 7th, 1923. It was a very successful church because it's very beautiful. It was brand new, there was nothing like it, the design in the area, and the Methodists had a habit of moving their ministers every 4 or 5 years. So there was a long string of very good ministers, and I won't name them all, but some of you might remember from way back, people like Ed Montfort, Paul Stewart, Randall Parsons, who played the saw and also was a ventriloquist, which I remember quite clearly. So the Methodists prospered, but by 1968, they had outgrown this building. They had 575 members. As you might have noticed, if you look around, this does not hold 575 people. Maybe a little over 100. And even if a lot of those members played hooky and stayed home on Sunday or attended Bedside Baptist, they went to 2 services, they still didn't fit. So the Methodist Church bought some property down at the intersection of Old 441 and 19 and built a new building. They sold this building to the Church of Christ for what they paid for it. $20,000. They paid $10,000 in 1923. If you adjust for inflation, $20,000, and they built the Sunday school wing in 1956, and they threw that in for free. Buy one church, get one Sunday school wing for free. Special offer. So the Methodists, as my dad has said, took the memorial windows with them. And unfortunately, that church burned in 1998, 30 years after they took them. The windows destroyed. Fortunately for us, the Church of Groveland, our architect, Ira Rice, less than a year after this was built an almost exact duplicate of this building in Groveland. And the windows had slightly different coloration, but we were fortunate to have our cooperation in taking pictures, and Brian and Bonnie Wisher went over, and Bonnie had injured her ankle, so Brian was up in this tall ladder. I was down taking video for insurance purposes. But they got the pictures, and over the course of the year, we were able to put these windows back where they belong. They had been gone 57 years, and the images came back in the fall of 2025. We have, by the way, downstairs in what used to be called in more primitive times, the church basement. But nowadays it's called Centennial Reception Hall, and it should be. You will have to look at it. It's beautiful. My dad came up with the design. Flooring is just stunning. And my sisters worked on the other thing. Cheryl worked on the tables and all the accoutrements. So it was very beautiful to see. There also downstairs are prints of these windows. We have a handful of large posters. You're welcome to take one of each if you like. We also have some smaller ones on cards. I'm so thankful to my dad for restoring this place, because a lot of historic buildings have not been saved, and including the church in Groveland. That was torn down years ago. I think they saved the windows and took them to the new building, unfortunately, but that building was destroyed. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm assuming that building in Groveland suffered from termite damage as well. I don't know, but the termites here had come in and made themselves very welcome. They were cleaning every week. They used the whole building. They were in the basement. They came all the way up to the ceiling. Probably related to that termite, we walked into a tavern one time and leaned across the counter and said, "Where's the bartender?" Probably from the same tribe, that's what I guess. But anyway, those pictures are available for you to take, and we're so happy that you came. We appreciate very much all the support that the community has given us for this project. And I'll turn it back over to my sister Cheryl now.
Thanks, Sammy. So he's a historian, and by the way, the beautiful books out there, Sammy wrote them, put them together, and he and his wife printed them in their own shop. So we've got a lot of different talents in this there.
I just about to tell you that this church still operates now. Every Sunday they have a service. Every Wednesday night they have prayer. Great news will give you all the information. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to continue this, and those that want to go on a little tour, we're going to kind of shorten the tour thing, but we have refreshments. material will make it into an event venue. So I expect in here we'll have weddings, and we'll have the piano recitals, and maybe some theater groups, things like that. There's all kinds of things you can do in this space. And down below, there's rooms for, business meetings or parties or wedding receptions. And we staged a little bit of it for you just to give you an idea. But anyway, I work with my brothers. I have 4 brothers, so I'm the one that gets to tell them what to do. No, I try. But they're all very talented, and they all do different things. It's awesome. Jack back there is amazing at working on our properties and his vision with that. And Kirby's the commissioner, of course. And Lee, where is Lee? Yeah. He's always such an easy one. But he's an electrical engineer, and he's very smart with no, not electrical. He's an engineer, excuse me. You can tell that I'm not the one for that. But anyway, he also does real estate, he makes all kind of deals, and of course Sandy is a writer, you can tell, and a historian and all those things. So I'm just a cheerleader, but I would love to show you the rest of it out here. We're going to go out this door right here. There's Palms Patio, which is a little area that is taking a little bit of a hit with this freeze, but we're bringing it back. Thanks to Jeremy for getting the old ugly sad looking plants out of there real quickly for us. And you can have like parties, but if you would like to go out this way and follow me, and then we'll go down and have refreshments. Okay, does that sound good? So welcome to the Legacy.